iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.
Being on Broadway is literally a dream come true. Saying that is an understatement. It is something I've wanted my whole life, and I've just dreamt about my entire existence. And to be able to step onto the St. James Theater in Spamalot 8 times a week, it's like, it doesn't get better than that. It's absolutely wonderful. Getting the role of Sir Robin in Spamalot was unlike anything I've ever experienced before in my life. I literally wrote a musical myself about a guy that wants to be on Broadway but never got his chance. And I was working on that musical, and then the phone rang, and my agent said, hey, do you want to go in and step in and replace Michael Urie when he leaves in Spamalot on Broadway? Because they just called. And I was like, this is a joke, right? This can't be real. But sure enough, a couple hours later, I was on a Zoom audition with Josh, the director, and then they called and closed our deal on Christmas Eve, and it was the best Christmas of my life. And then we packed on Christmas Day and flew to New York the next day, and I started rehearsals at like January 2nd. Yeah, so crazy. Michael Urie is icon, legend. Like, I can't say enough good things about Michael Urie. He was the first person to text me when I got the job. He said, hey, it's Michael. What can I do to help? I'm here. Like, if you have any questions, no questions too stupid, feel free. And he took me out to dinner with his husband and my husband, and just kind of like gave me all the little inside tips for this track and how it works, and, you know, costume changes and everything, and was just so welcoming and so warm. And I just thought, like, that just shows who he is. Like, he cares so much about the show itself and about the production to make sure, like, the person coming in feels good and safe and grounded walking into it. Like, you can't say enough good things about Michael Urie. I only had 8 days to learn the role. So I had 8 actual rehearsals before I had my put-in rehearsal. And I actually only, here's the crazy part. The first time I sang with the actual orchestra was my opening night at 5 p.m. So the only time I ever ran all my numbers with an actual orchestra was the opening night of my show. And the only time I ever did it with the 3 principal actors, Alex, James, and Ethan, was during the actual show Tuesday night when I opened. I had never said the lines with the actual actors that do them on stage. I'd only rehearsed it with the swings and the understudies. I had never actually done it with them until I walked out Tuesday night and opened. Isn't that crazy? I blacked out. I don't remember any of it. Like, I literally was in a blackout, and then it was the curtain call, and I just looked over to Nick Walker, and I was like, it's over? He's like, yeah. I go, how'd I do? He's like, great. And I was like, because I don't remember a thing. Completely blacked out.
Nick Walker's a good person to turn to in that moment.
Yes, Nick Walker is like your steady, he's like the steady Clydesdale of the show. You just turn to Nick, and he said, Nick, are we good? Yeah, you're good. Okay, good. Like, Nick's the best. It's funny because I was asking some of the dancers in this show the other day, I was like, what's the hardest show you've done? And I was expecting them to say, you know, like Hairspray or whatever. And they go, dancing-wise? And I said, yeah. They go, Spamalot. And I was like, great. It is such a rocket ship. From the moment that curtain goes up, it doesn't stop. And not only do you have to, is there so much energy, but there's all the comedic energy that has to happen. And that takes a lot out of you to do it and stay funny and stay present and stay focused and stay sharp and have all those things going on. So definitely it's grueling. I don't do much except go to the show and go home and, like, try to rest as much as possible. I try to eat healthy, but I don't, because I'm never going to eat healthy because I hate it. But, like, I take a lot of vitamins, and I drink a ton of water, which is why I have to pee every 5 seconds.
There you go. That's awesome.
It's very kismet that, like, this Mean Girls musical movie came out, and I'm doing a musical on Broadway at the exact same time. So it was a very kismet thing. And what's so funny is they said, you know, the question of what's it like to introduce Mean Girls to a new generation, we aren't. Because this generation knows the original, right? And so it's just introducing the story in a different way by adding music. But it's so funny because most of the, I'm not going to speak for the world, but the majority of the people that are going to see Mean Girls have already seen the original. So, like, it's kind of like that steady, it's just that steady story that will always be told and retold and retold. I have not seen the new Mean Girls musical movie because Daddy's been on Broadway and I'm tired. But when it comes to Blu-ray, I'll rent it. Yes, I saw the musical when it was on Broadway. It was phenomenal.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.